Welcome to my channel, everybody. Today we're going to be making a bit of a different video than what I usually make. If there's anything that I've earned, if I've helped you in any way, please just watch this video. Do me this favor once, please. It's very important to me. Now in this video, I'm going to be telling you about something called ayahuasca and how a Schedule 1 drug in the US here changed my life and ultimately what it means for the future. But I need to tell you a story, and I need to tell you about my life a little bit, things that I've never told you before, so that way you actually understand a little bit more about who I am and who I'm becoming. Now, I'm turning 30, and I've spent most of my life managing depression. From basically being a teenager on, I can't really remember much of a time where I didn't have to contend with depression inside of my life, like pretty intense depression. Not that it's a measuring stick or anything, but being suicidal, having to deal with that through my teens, and having it be acute, like chronic throughout my entire life, through my teens, through my 20s. Here I am, 30 now. And I didn't really know what to do. Nothing has worked. I'm kind of like a highly functioning depressed person. Like I've found ways to stave it off. But to explain a little bit, I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and not to go into all the details, but I truly believe that religion really fractured my family in a lot of different ways. I haven't spoken to my brother in 8 or 9 years. The last thing he ever said to me was, "I can't talk to you. Like, you're not a Jehovah's Witness." So that was the end of the phone call. That was the last time I heard from him. My mom has dealt with depression her entire life, as far as I know, at least my whole life. And my father is on what he calls happy pills, which I never got it when I was younger, and I never really thought much of it. But this is just part of their life. And I've spent my entire life trying to run away from it. I've never taken medication. Well, I've taken medication for I think a couple weeks until I had a suicidal thought when I was on it, and I said, nope, not doing that. But I've tried everything else, and I've lived my life pretty religiously to basically manage the depression. My diet, my exercise, routine in my day, all of these things are very intentional because I know that they stave off the depression. Now, on top of this, I've never really had much of my own voice in my head, ever. Like, it hasn't existed. And what I mean by that is, like, if you asked me, what do you want to do? What do you want out of life? What matters to you? I didn't really have an answer. I kind of knew some things, but it was clouded. And it was mostly clouded with what I thought I had to be or what I thought I had to do. And it was mostly kind of predicated on the people around me, the things that I saw that I thought would make people happy. And it was never really truly about me and what I needed to do to be happy. So now with all of that being said, through my 20s, this got much worse. Not worse in the way that I was suicidal. I kind of squashed on the bug in my teens, but through my 20s, I've spent almost the latter half of my 20s, I have not really known who I am. I've been working so much, and I've just let that swallow everything in me. And I believe that if I got to a certain point in success, then maybe I would have time to figure out those things, or maybe it wouldn't matter, or maybe I would be happy eventually. That never came, though. That never came. Over the past couple of years, I've been researching something called ayahuasca. So ayahuasca is essentially, if you want to call it this, a plant-based psychedelic. It's also known as plant medicine. It's also known as an entheogen, or like a god within substance. And like a psychedelic, it causes hallucinations, alterations to the way that you think, sense of time, emotions, perceptions, feeling like this. Ayahuasca is a South American brew of traditionally 2 different plants. Now, one of these plants is an MAO inhibitor, and the other is actually a substance that has dimethyltryptamine or DMT inside of it. DMT is in many plants, and it's also inside of us. DMT is inside of us. So these combination of plants, they have to go together. The MAO inhibitor allows the DMT to basically be absorbed for you to get the effect. And DMT is a psychedelic substance, if you want to call it that. Now, ayahuasca traditionally is a tool that's used for, shall we say, shamanic purposes. But it's also used as a way to purge and cleanse one's soul, as well as experience the universe, or so they believe, through these experiences, going into other realms, perceiving beyond the day-to-day, the physical reality, and into something deeper. Now, this brew of 2 plants has, found its way into a little bit more mainstream culture as a psychedelic, with interesting properties. The ability to potentially heal physical and emotional, psychological ailments, illnesses, things that bother people. And it's been on my radar, partially because of my girlfriend. This is something that she had done a while back, and I had heard about it. I had researched it. I'd watched documentaries. I've spent a lot of time researching it over the years, and I never felt like it was right for me. I never felt like it was time. And a big part of that was I actually am I was against, hallucinogenic psychedelics, if you want to call them that. I was against these types of things because of some experiences in my life that I had, and I didn't find them super valuable to me anymore. But something called me and said that this is something that I have to do. I was at the end of my rope last year. Like, I had a very, very rough year in the relationship with my girlfriend. I had a very rough year when it comes to work. I spent more time working than I've ever spent before. And I didn't know who I was anymore. But I heard this call to go do ayahuasca, so I decided to listen. And I booked a trip, and I went down to Costa Rica, which is where I went a couple weeks ago. And I got to be honest with you, I was petrified. I was very scared. I didn't know what I was going to experience. You can't know what you're going to experience with things like this. They are beyond words, and you can't necessarily fully control the experience. But I was going into this knowing that I was probably going to face parts of myself that I had suppressed, parts of myself that I didn't want to face. This is a common aspect of ayahuasca. It shows you things about yourself that are traumatized, things that you haven't resolved, that you've stored in your body, and it makes you look at them so that way you can heal them. So when I went to Costa Rica and I went on this retreat that was 7 days, I went with the intent of doing ayahuasca 4 times in 4 ceremonies, which is traditionally how it's done. It's done very, very spiritually, almost religiously. There's very strict rules that you have to follow leading up to it as far as your diet, restricting certain things, not having sex, all this kind of stuff. So I was prepared for it and went down, very scared. But I'm going to give you the short of it. It was one of the most transformative weeks of my life. Truly transformative in ways that I didn't think were possible. I discovered so much about myself that I didn't really know. Things that have caused me a lot of it showed me my operating system, if you will. The things, the beliefs that I have put away in my subconscious and that influence my everyday. The things that I do every single day, the reasons that I made the choices that I've made that have led me to the place where I feel broken, confused, alone, and said I don't have to be like that anymore. The experience of this plant medicine, and I'm going to say plant medicine from now on because it is a medicine. It is a plant medicine, and it is a extremely spiritual experience. This plant medicine healed me of so many things. And the major one was of me feeling that I had to constantly compare myself to other people in order to get love, in order to feel like I was good. And it showed me the roots of this. It showed me where it first started in my life and how I have let that drive everything in my life forward. It showed me my own voice. Like I said to you earlier on, I've never heard my own voice. I've never really understood what it is that I want out of life, or what I should do, or where I should go. I've taken stabs in the dark. I've also copied other people. What I thought made them happy, it's like, well, I should just do that too. But I've never heard my own voice until now. That voice is loud and it's clear, and it is speaking with love into my life and into other people's life, probably for the first time. It is also this plant medicine has shown me what my future is going to be, and who I am, what will come from this. And it's a very beautiful thing. It's a very, very beautiful thing that scares the crap out of me. But honestly, I know it to be true. I know it's aligned with who I am. I know it's aligned with my purpose. I know it's aligned with the things that I care about deepest in this world, and the things that I believe deeply in. And I don't know if you can see it over the past couple weeks of videos, the difference in my face. There's a lighter appearance in my eyes. There's a clearness. There's a resoluteness. There's no longer the feeling of being weighted down by all of this stuff. Since I've come back, life has transformed a lot for me, and I knew it was going to. I heard many things that I had to do, including changing a relationship, a work relationship, my largest work relationship, my largest client. I knew I had to set boundaries. Little did I know that the day that I got back and I was about to set those boundaries with my client, that I can't even describe this with words. I don't even know how to explain this, but after years of working together, the day I get back, we're no longer working together. Completely out of the blue. And here I was about to set a boundary. Here I was about to express this new Jake. And while that may sound like a bad thing or a scary thing that I lost, a huge client of mine, my biggest client, my largest source of income, right, to live, it was the most beautiful thing, because one, it's created so much time and space for me to move into this next chapter of my life. But on top of that, it has also removed so much of the stress that I used to feel on a day-to-day basis. I'm talking about working and being on 7 days a week, not being able to leave my computer, not being able to plan and do things with friends because I didn't know when I had to work. But if I had, I was going to have to work at some point on Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays and Tuesdays and Mondays and Wednesdays, every single day of the week. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't be anything. And it was finally gone. And that might look like a coincidence. I get it. You're talking to the most logical guy in the world. My girlfriend and I are complete opposites. She's incredibly spiritual. I'm incredibly logical. But that's changed. I know things to be true now, that there's a universal consciousness that we are all connected with, that we are all connected to one another, and that when we change, our world changes. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, my life has changed a lot, and it's going to keep changing a lot. It showed me the person that I have to be and some of the things that I get to do. And I'm very, very excited about that. And that is something that I will probably share in the future a little bit more about, but I will share this. It is largely going to be what this channel is about, which is working with men. which is working with people and healing them, helping them reunite with their soul, with their identity. You know, lastly, right, like I'm going to say this at the very end for the people that have listened, for the people that truly this is speaking to. Now, this experience happened at Rhythmia down in Costa Rica, which is a retreat center for this activity. And I didn't plan on this, but I'm 100% going back there in the future. And I reserved like a deposit. I put a deposit down on that trip. And if I bring 3 people along, we get a trip for free, which I plan if 3 people do want to come, if some of you want to come. I'm going to split that cost up amongst all of us, so that way we can all go for a little bit cheaper. We don't have to go on the same weeks. You can go on your own, any of that type of stuff. But I'm just giving you that invite. If you want to know more about my experience on a one-to-one basis, I will absolutely share it with you if you're genuinely interested. But one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be starting a secondary channel to this right here. It's called Sacred Medicines, and I'm so excited about it. I'm going to put a link down below, but essentially what this channel is going to be about is it is going to be destigmatizing nature's medicines of the past for a holistic future. Because there are so many medicines, not just ayahuasca, but there's so many medicines out there that have been taken away from us, so that way we can use pharmaceuticals, we can use manufactured drugs, and it's not right. Now on this channel, there will be interviews with folks that have had their own plant medicine experiences, how they've healed, but this is going to be primarily focused in the long run about talking with experts on this subject. So I'm talking about lawyers and the legal status of these entheogens, which are these, psychedelic type medicines. It's going to be talking with politicians that are leading the charge and trying to decriminalize it. It's going to be talking with scientists, doctors. It's going to be talking with people from every single facet, spiritual leaders, shamans, all the people that believe in this work, that believe and know that there is something powerful that is waiting for us in this medicine that could heal us and also connect us spiritually. I'm a spiritual person now, and I didn't used to be. And it's weird to say. I came from a place of what I believe spiritual trauma. But now, I'm a very spiritual person for the first time in my life. So this channel, Sacred Medicines, is going to be all about that. And I'm very excited about what this future is going to look like for me, for others. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to know more about my experience, please leave a comment. Best way to reach me, though, is on Instagram or send me an email. And I can't wait to talk to you all. Take care.